What if Palpatine died during Order 66? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. The Emperor dies screaming, not as a triumphant Sith Lord declaring his new empire, not as Darth Sidious revealing his master plan to a broken galaxy. He dies in his own office, consumed by his own lightning, killed by the Jedi he tried to destroy. One moment changes everything. Order 66 transmits across the galaxy. Clone troopers turn on their Jedi generals. Hundreds die in seconds. But there's no one controlling the chaos, no Emperor to coordinate the purge, no Darth Vader marching on the temple. Just confusion, betrayal, and a galaxy tearing itself apart without anyone at the wheel. Anakin Skywalker races toward the Senate building. His mind screams with one thought. Palpatine promised to save Padme. Palpatine had the power to stop death. But when Anakin bursts through the doors, he finds only bodies. The Chancellor lies dead. His last hope is gone, and the choice that will define the galaxy stands before him. Does he fall to darkness for revenge? Or does he choose something else? The Senate chambers echo with the hum of lightsabers and the crackle of lightning. Master Mace Windu stands over Chancellor Palpatine, his purple blade casting shadows across ornate walls. Behind him, Kit Fisto breathes heavily, his robes scorched and torn. 3 other Jedi Masters lie dead on the floor. Aegon Kolar, Saesee Tiin, their bodies still smoking from the Sith Lord's attack. The Chancellor's face has twisted into something inhuman. His voice a guttural snarl that sounds nothing like the kindly politician who led the Republic for over a decade. You dare threaten me, Master Jedi? I am the Senate. His hands shoot forward, and blue lightning erupts from his fingertips. The raw power of the dark side fills the chamber like a physical presence. Aegon Kolar moves to intercept, but the lightning catches him full in the chest. His body convulses, his lightsaber falling from nerveless fingers as he collapses. Saesee Tiin rushes forward, but Palpatine's lightsaber appears in his hand, as if materializing from thin air. The crimson blade ignites with a snap hiss, and in a single fluid motion, he spins and cuts down the Jedi Master before he can react. Kit Fisto attacks from the side, his green blade weaving through the air in the fluid movements of his aquatic combat style. Palpatine meets him strike for strike, their lightsabers creating a strobe effect as they clash again and again. But Kit Fisto is one of the finest duelists in the Jedi Order, and he presses the attack with relentless precision. For a moment, it seems he might break through Palpatine's defenses. Then the Chancellor's free hand shoots out, and another burst of lightning sends Kit Fisto stumbling backward, smoke rising from his robes. Now, only Mace Windu remains. The 2 warriors face each other across the smoke-filled chamber. Mace's expression is grim but determined. He has trained his entire life for moments like this. Mastered Varpad, the most aggressive of all lightsaber forms, specifically to channel darkness back against its wielder. Palpatine advances, his movements somehow both elderly and impossibly quick. Their blades meet with a shower of sparks. The duel is brutal and fast. Palpatine fights with the accumulated knowledge of countless Sith Lords, his strikes precise and deadly. But Mace Windu is fighting for more than himself. He's fighting for the Republic, for the Jedi Order, for every being who will suffer if this monster is allowed to continue his reign. The battle carries them across the chamber. Furniture explodes as force-enhanced blows miss their marks. Windows shatter from the sheer energy being unleashed. Palpatine unleashes another torrent of lightning. But this time, Mace is ready. His lightsaber angles perfectly, and the Varpard technique activates. The lightning doesn't just deflect. It amplifies, drawing on Palpatine's own darkness and feeding it back to him. The Sith Lord's eyes widen in shock as he realizes what's happening. He tries to stop the lightning, to cut off the flow of power, but it's too late. The feedback loop has been established. The dark side energy courses through Palpatine's body, far more intense than he intended. His carefully maintained illusion of humanity burns away as the lightning chars his flesh. He screams, but he cannot stop. The power is feeding on itself now, growing stronger with each passing second. His body convulses, and the lightning spreads across the room like a living thing, scorching the walls and ceiling. Mace Windu is forced to step back, his lightsaber still extended, watching in horror as the most powerful Sith Lord in 1,000 years is consumed by his own attack. Finally, mercifully, it ends. Palpatine collapses to the floor, his robe smoking, his body twisted and broken. Mace Windu approaches carefully, his lightsaber still ignited, checking for any sign of deception. But there is none. He can feel it through the Force. The great darkness that has shadowed the galaxy for so long, the presence that has eluded the Jedi's detection for years, is gone. Darth Sidious is dead. Mace deactivates his lightsaber and drops to one knee, exhausted. Around him, Kit Fisto struggles to his feet, wounded but alive. The other two masters will not rise again. But even as Palpatine breathes his last, his final contingency activates. Across the galaxy, in the command chips implanted in the brains of every clone trooper, a signal pulses. Order 66. The most terrible of all the contingency orders, the one that brands every Jedi a traitor to the Republic. The clones have no choice. The inhibitor chips override their free will, their personalities, their friendships. They become weapons, and the Jedi become targets. On 1,000 worlds, in 1,000 battles, clone troopers turn on their generals without warning or hesitation. On Utapau, Obi-Wan Kenobi is riding his Varactyl through the sinkhole levels of Pau City, pursuing General Grievous's remaining forces. Commander Cody stands on a platform high above, watching through his macrobinoculars. His comlink crackles to life, and a voice he doesn't recognize speaks a phrase he's never heard before. Execute Order 66. Something changes in Cody's eyes. The warmth, the personality, everything that makes him an individual vanishes, replaced by cold programming. He signals to his men, and they raise their weapons. Obi-Wan doesn't sense the danger until blaster bolts are already streaking toward him. His lightsaber ignites on pure instinct, deflecting the first few shots. But there are too many. His Varactyl roars in pain as multiple bolts strike its flank, and they plunge together into the water-filled depths of the sinkhole. Obi-Wan hits the surface hard, the impact driving the air from his lungs. He forces himself to swim down into the darkness where the clone troopers can't see him. His lungs burn, and his robes drag at him, but he keeps going. Above him, he can hear the splash of thermal detonators hitting the water. The explosions are muffled, but still powerful enough to send shockwaves through the depths. He finds an underwater cave system and follows it, letting the Force guide him. Minutes pass, then hours. When he finally surfaces on the far side of the city, he's alone and exhausted. His comlink has been destroyed in the fall, but he doesn't need it to know something is terribly wrong. Through the Force, he can feel it. Pain, death, betrayal. Jedi are dying across the galaxy. He reaches out with his mind, trying to sense what's happening, and that's when he feels it. The great darkness, the shadow that has lurked at the edges of his perception for years, is gone. Palpatine is dead. On Kashyyyk, Master Yoda stands on a wooden platform overlooking the beaches, where Republic forces are mopping up the last separatist resistance. The Wookiees fight alongside the clones, their roars mixing with the sound of blaster fire. Yoda closes his eyes, meditating on the battle, when suddenly he staggers. The Force screams a warning. He spins, his lightsaber already in his hand, as Commander Gree and his lieutenant raise their weapons. The green blade flashes twice, and both clones fall before they can fire a shot. But Yoda takes no satisfaction in this. These men were his friends, his allies. Something has corrupted them. He reaches out with the Force, sensing the broader galaxy, and what he feels nearly drives him to his knees. Hundreds of lights are winking out. Jedi dying, not in battle against droids or separatists, but murdered by their own troops. And beneath it all, a great disturbance. The dark presence that has plagued the Republic is gone, snuffed out like a candle. But its final act continues to ripple across the stars. Yoda closes his eyes and lets the grief wash over him. The Jedi Order, ancient and proud, is being destroyed, and he cannot stop it. On Felucia, Aayla Secura is leading her troops through a fungal forest when Commander Bly receives the order. She doesn't even have time to turn around before the blaster bolts strike her in the back. She falls among the massive mushrooms, her blue skin fading as life leaves her body. On Megiddo, Ki-Adi-Mundi stands on a crystalline bridge when his clones open fire. He deflects the first volley, his lightsaber a blur, but there are too many angles of attack. He falls, his last thought a question. Why? On Cato Neimoidia, Plo Koon is piloting his starfighter through a canyon when his wingmen, clones he's flown with for months, target his ship. The explosion is brief and bright, but not all Jedi fall. Some, through instinct or luck or the Force itself, survive those first terrible moments. And in those survivors lies hope. On Saleucami, Stas Ali senses the danger a split second before her troops fire. She leaps from her speeder bike, using the Force to cushion her fall, and disappears into the wilderness. On Kashyyyk, Quinlan Vos feels the wrongness through his psychometric abilities and vanishes into the forests before his troops can organize. On Felucia's moon, Shak Ti, having been reassigned from Kamino to inspect the medical facilities, feels the disturbance and immediately activates the temple's emergency protocols. In the skies above Coruscant, Anakin Skywalker pilots his Jedi starfighter with reckless precision. He's just destroyed the last of the vulture droids harassing the Republic fleet, and his mind is not on the battle. It's on Padmé, on the dreams that have haunted him, on the promise Palpatine made, that together they could learn to save her from death. He needs to get to the Chancellor's office, needs to make sure the Jedi aren't making a mistake. Master Windu was going to arrest Palpatine, But Anakin knows in his gut that the Chancellor is the key to saving Padme. His comlink crackles, and Obi-Wan's voice comes through, strained and distant. "Anakin, stay away from the temple. Order 66 has been activated. The clones are killing Jedi." But the transmission cuts off before Anakin can respond. His hands tighten on the controls. Killing Jedi? That doesn't make sense. Unless Palpatine was right. Unless the Jedi really are trying to take over the Republic. His mind is in turmoil as he sets course for the Senate building. He needs answers. He needs to know what's happening. But most of all, he needs the power to save Padme. And only Palpatine can give him that. He lands on the Senate building's platform and runs through the corridors. Senate guards try to stop him, but he brushes past them with the Force. His heart is pounding. Everything is happening too fast. He should have been there with Master Windu. He should have helped arrest Palpatine properly, through legal means. But if the Jedi are killing the Chancellor, then maybe Palpatine was telling the truth about them all along. He bursts into the Chancellor's office and stops dead. The room is in ruins. Furniture is overturned. Windows shattered. Scorch marks cover every surface. And in the center of it all, the bodies. 3 Jedi lie dead on the floor. Anakin recognizes them. Master Kolar, Master Teen. And there, near the window, slumped against the wall, is Mace Windu. Kit Fisto kneels beside him, his own robes torn and burned. And in the center of the room, twisted and broken, lies Chancellor Palpatine. Anakin's world stops. He stares at the body, unable to process what he's seeing. No, this can't be happening. Master Windu, what have you done? Mace looks up at him, and there's no triumph in his eyes, only exhaustion and sorrow. What we had to do, Anakin. He was a Sith Lord, Darth Sidious. He orchestrated the entire war. Anakin shakes his head, backing away. You're lying. The Chancellor was a good man. He was going to help me. Help you do what? Mace struggles to his feet, leaning heavily on Kit Fisto for support. Help you give in to fear and anger? Help you fall to the dark side? Anakin, he was using you. Everything he told you was manipulation. But Anakin can barely hear him. All he can see is Palpatine's body. The man who believed in him when the Jedi Council didn't. The man who promised him the power to save Padme. And now he's dead. And with him, Anakin's last hope. Anakin's hand drops to his lightsaber. And for a moment, the future hangs in balance. He could attack, could give in to the rage boiling inside him, could make the Jedi pay for taking away his chance to save his wife. But then, through the haze of his anger, he hears Obi-Wan's voice in his mind. A memory from years ago. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. He's suffering now. The pain is overwhelming. But killing Mace Windu won't bring Palpatine back. It won't save Padme. It will only drag him deeper into darkness. His hand falls away from his lightsaber. He stands there, shaking, tears streaming down his face. Master Windu watches him carefully, ready to defend himself if necessary. But Anakin doesn't attack. Instead, he turns and runs. He can't be here. Can't look at Palpatine's body anymore. Can't face the Jedi who killed his last hope. He runs through the corridors, past shocked senators and confused guards. He reaches his starfighter and takes off without a flight plan, letting the Force guide him. He doesn't know where he's going. He just knows he needs to get away. But as he flies through Coruscant's sky lanes, something changes. The bond he didn't even know he had, the connection Palpatine forged between them through months of manipulation and dark side influence, suddenly severs. It's like a tether being cut, and Anakin gasps as his mind clears. He can think again, really think, without Palpatine's voice whispering in his ear, steering his thoughts toward anger and fear. He realizes where he's going. To Padme. Of course, to Padme. She's the center of everything. His love for her, his fear of losing her, it's all tangled up in the choices he's been making. But now, for the first time in weeks, he can see those choices clearly. He lands at Padme's apartment and rushes inside. She's standing by the window, one hand on her swollen belly, tears streaming down her face. She's heard the news. The entire HoloNet is exploding with reports. The Chancellor is dead. The Jedi tried to overthrow the Republic. Order 66 is in effect. Jedi are being hunted across the galaxy, and no one knows what to believe. Anakin crosses the room in 3 strides and pulls her into his arms. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Padme. I almost did something terrible. She holds him tight, feeling the tremors running through his body. I know. I felt it. Whatever darkness was pulling at you, I could sense it. But you're here now. That's what matters. They stand together for a long moment, and Anakin lets himself feel everything. The grief of Palpatine's death, the anger at the Jedi for killing him, the fear for Padme's life, the shame at how close he came to falling. He doesn't push the emotions away like a Jedi should. He lets them flow through him, accepting them as part of who he is. And in accepting them, he finds clarity. Padme, I have to go to the temple. I have to help. The clones are killing Jedi, even the younglings. Whatever Palpatine was, whatever he did, that's not the answer. She nods, her hand touching his cheek. I know. Go. Do what you need to do. But Anakin, promise me you'll come back. He kisses her forehead. I promise. Across the city, the Jedi Temple burns. Clone troopers of the 501st Legion march up the grand stairway, their blasters cutting down any Jedi who try to flee. Inside, the massacre is already underway. Jedi Knights fight desperately to protect the younglings, but they're overwhelmed by sheer numbers. The clones show no mercy, no hesitation. They're not men anymore. Their weapons and their programming is absolute. Kill all Jedi. In the council chambers, Shaak Ti ignites her lightsaber and takes her stand. She won't let them reach the younglings, not while she still breathes. Commander Appo leads the charge into the temple. He's served under Anakin Skywalker for years, fought beside Jedi in countless battles. But none of that matters. Now, the inhibitor chip in his brain has reduced him to a single purpose: execute Order 66. His troops fan out through the temple halls, hunting down every Jedi they can find. Some Jedi try to surrender. The clones gun them down anyway. Some try to reason with them, appealing to their shared history. The clones don't hear them. They're beyond reason, beyond mercy. They're just following orders. But then, something unexpected happens. A Jedi starfighter screams through the sky and lands on the temple platform. Anakin Skywalker leaps out, his lightsaber already ignited. The 501st troopers turn toward him, weapons raising. These are his men, soldiers he's led through the worst battles of the Clone Wars. But their eyes are empty, devoid of recognition. General Skywalker. Commander Appo's voice is flat, mechanical. You are to be terminated under Order 66. Anakin's heart sinks. They don't remember him. They don't remember anything except their orders. Stand down. Appo, all of you. That's a direct order from your commanding officer. For a moment, nothing happens. The clones stand frozen, their programming warring with their training. They've been conditioned to obey their generals, but the inhibitor chips are screaming at them to kill all Jedi. The conflict is visible on their faces, in the way their hands shake on their weapons. Then, slowly, Appo lowers his blaster. Others follow suit. Not all of them. Some keep their weapons trained on Anakin, unable to overcome the chip's control, but enough lower their guns to create a stalemate. Anakin doesn't waste the opportunity. He reaches out with the Force, not to attack, but to touch their minds. He can feel the inhibitor chips, foreign objects lodged in their brains, overriding their free will. Listen to me, all of you. This isn't you. You're being controlled. Whatever order you received, it's wrong. The Jedi aren't traitors. We've fought together, bled together. You know us. Some of the clones hesitate. One removes his helmet, and tears stream down his face. General, I can't stop it. The order, it's in my head. I don't want to kill you, but I can't stop. Anakin's jaw tightens. Then I'll stop it for you. He reaches deeper into the Force than he ever has before, finding the inhibitor chip through his connection to the trooper. It's a delicate operation. One wrong move could kill the man. But Anakin has always had precise control of the Force when he focuses. He finds the chip and sends a pulse of energy through it. The device shorts out, sparking inside the clone's skull. The trooper gasps and collapses, but he's alive. And the look in his eyes when he stands is clear. He's himself again. Sir, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I know, soldier. It's not your fault. But we need to work fast. Get me every medic droid in the temple. We're removing those chips. The process begins. One by one, clones are freed from the inhibitor chips. Some fight against their brothers to protect the Jedi. Others simply remove their helmets and refuse to continue. But not everyone can be saved. Some chips are too deeply embedded, and some clones are too far gone in their programming. These troopers continue their assault, forcing Anakin to defend the temple against his own men. It's the most painful fight of his life. Inside the temple, Shakti holds the council chamber doors. Behind her, 50 younglings huddle together, terrified. Some of them are barely 5 years old. They don't understand what's happening or why the soldiers they trusted are now trying to kill them. Shakti's lightsaber moves in a constant blur, deflecting blaster bolts back at the advancing clones. She's one of the finest Jedi warriors, and she won't be moved. But even she has limits. Her muscles scream with exhaustion. Her lungs burn, and still the clones keep coming. Then the doors behind her open, and Anakin Skywalker steps through. He takes up position beside her, his blue blade joining her red one. Together, she nods, allowing herself a small smile. Together, the two Jedi fight side by side, and the tide begins to turn. With Anakin's arrival and the growing number of freed clone troopers, the assault on the temple falters. Commander Apo, his chip removed and his mind his own again, takes command of the liberated soldiers. Brothers, we've been used, but we can make this right. Help the Jedi. Protect the younglings. This is our chance to be more than weapons. The 501st splits into two factions. Those freed from their programming defend the temple. Those still controlled by their chips continue the assault. The battle rages through the halls. But slowly, surely, the Jedi begin to prevail. On Kashyyyk, Yoda makes his way to the Wookiee command center. Tarful and Chewbacca escort him, their bowcasters ready. The Wookiees have no inhibitor chips, no secret programming. They fight because they choose to. And right now, they're choosing to protect Yoda from the clone troopers hunting him. Senator Bail Organa's ship lands on the beach, and the Alderaanian senator disembarks with a squad of his own security forces. Master Yoda, we need to leave. The entire Republic military has turned against the Jedi. Yoda nods sadly. Return to Coruscant. We must. Discover what has happened. We will. See what can be saved. The journey back to Coruscant is tense. Bail's ship is registered as a senatorial vessel, so the Republic fleet lets them pass without incident. But Yoda can feel the wrongness permeating the galaxy. The Force itself feels wounded, bleeding from thousands of deaths. When they arrive at Coruscant, the city planet is in chaos. News of Palpatine's death has spread, and the Senate is in emergency session. Different factions are already forming, each trying to seize power in the vacuum left by the Chancellor's demise. Bail takes Yoda directly to the Senate building, sneaking him through private entrances to avoid the clone patrols. In the Senate chamber, Vice-Chancellor Mas Amedda stands at Palpatine's podium, his arms raised for silence. Senators, please, we must maintain order. The Chancellor is dead. Yes, but the Republic endures. As Vice-Chancellor, I am assuming emergency powers until a proper election can be held. Mon Mothma of Chandrila stands, her voice cutting through the murmur of the assembly. And who decided you should have those powers? The Constitution is clear. In the absence of a chancellor, the Senate must elect an interim leader. You don't get to simply crown yourself. Other senators join in, some supporting Amedda, others calling for immediate elections. The chamber descends into shouting and arguments. Bail Organa takes the floor, his presence commanding attention. My fellow senators, we're missing the larger issue. Supreme Chancellor Palpatine was a Sith Lord. Master Windu discovered this and confronted him. The evidence is in his office for anyone who wishes to see it. Sith holocrons, communications with Count Dooku, plans for the systematic destruction of the Jedi Order. Everything we've fought for in this war has been a lie. The chamber falls silent. Then the shouting begins anew, louder than before. Some senators refuse to believe it. Others claim the Jedi fabricated evidence, and a few, a very few, begin to realize the terrible implications. If Palpatine was Darth Sidious, then the war itself was orchestrated. The Separatists, the clone army, the centralization of power, all of it was part of his plan. Senator Amidala stands, her hand resting on her pregnant belly. We need to verify these claims. I propose a full investigation. Every action Palpatine took, every law he passed, every executive order he signed, all of it needs to be examined. If he truly was a Sith Lord, then we must determine the full extent of his influence and undo the damage he's caused. Her words carry weight. Padme has always been a voice of reason in the Senate, and even those who disagree with her respect her integrity. A commission is formed to investigate Palpatine's actions. But even as this happens, the greater crisis continues. Order 66 is still in effect, and Jedi are still dying across the galaxy. Master Yoda emerges from the shadows where he's been watching, and the Senate erupts in alarm. Guards raise weapons, but Bail Organa steps in front of the small Jedi Master. Hold your fire. Master Yoda is here to help. Yoda hobbles to the center of the chamber, his presence somehow filling the vast space. Senators of the Republic, grave news I bring. The Jedi Order has been attacked by the clone army. Hundreds are dead. Many more are in hiding. Order 66, a contingency protocol, was activated by Chancellor Palpatine before his death. The inhibitor, chips in the clones' brains, make them slaves, forcing them to kill Jedi against their will. If the Republic is to survive, these chips must be removed. All of them. The Senate debates long into the night. Some argue that removing the chips would leave the Republic defenseless. Others point out that an army of mind-controlled soldiers is exactly what a Sith Lord would want. Finally, a resolution passes. The clone army will stand down while medical teams remove the inhibitor chips. Jedi survivors will be granted sanctuary, and a full investigation into Palpatine's activities will commence immediately. It's a start, but only a start. The galaxy is still teetering on the edge of chaos, and powerful forces are already moving to exploit the situation. In the Outer Rim, Grand Moff Wilhuff Tarkin stands on the bridge of his Star Destroyer, the Executrix. He's just received word of Palpatine's death, and his sharp mind is already calculating the implications. The Emperor is dead before he could even declare his empire. The plan has failed, but perhaps not entirely. Tarkin was privy to much of Palpatine's vision. He understands the need for order, for centralized control. The Republic is weak, corrupt, inefficient. It needs strong leadership. And if Palpatine can no longer provide it, then someone else must step forward. He activates his secure comm system and contacts several other officers he knows share his views. Admiral Motti, Captain Piet, Colonel Yularen, Moff Jerjerrod. One by one, they answer his call. Each has been strategically placed by Palpatine over the years. Each believes in the vision of a strong, orderly galaxy. Gentlemen, the Chancellor is dead. The Senate will descend into squabbling and infighting. The Jedi, if they survive, will try to return to their old ways, serving a broken system. But we have an opportunity here. The clone army is loyal to its commanders. Much of the fleet answers to us, and the Republic is in chaos. If we act decisively, we can seize control and create the order the galaxy desperately needs. The others agree, some eagerly, some Reluctantly, they begin coordinating their forces, pulling ships away from the main Republic fleet, consolidating their power base. They frame it as a necessary security measure, protecting key systems from the chaos of Palpatine's death. But their true goal is clear. They're building their own faction, a military dictatorship that will rule through strength and fear. They don't call it an empire yet, but that's what it will become. And at the center of their plans is a weapon. Tarkin pulls up the schematics on his command display. The Death Star, Palpatine's ultimate deterrent, still in the early stages of construction on Geonosis. If they can complete it, no force in the galaxy will be able to stand against them. On Geonosis, the massive space station takes shape in orbit. Thousands of workers, most of them slaves or prisoners, labor around the clock to build the superweapon. The project has been kept secret, known only to Palpatine's inner circle. But with the Emperor dead, the Geonosian engineers realize they might have leverage. Poggle the Lesser, the Archduke of Geonosis, surveys the construction with calculating eyes. This weapon could make Geonosis the most powerful world in the galaxy. Or it could be sold to the highest bidder. He begins sending out feelers to various factions, testing the waters. Tarkin hears of this and dispatches a task force to Geonosis immediately. The Death Star must remain under his control. Meanwhile, on Utapau, the Separatist Council receives word of Palpatine's death. They're gathered in a secure bunker, having fled there when the Republic forces began their final push. Newt Gunray, the Viceroy of the Trade Federation, paces nervously. What does this mean for us? Sidious promised us victory. He promised the droid armies would conquer the Republic. Wat Tambor, the foreman of the Techno-Union, adjusts his vocabulary. It means we've been betrayed. Sidious was playing both sides. He was going to have us killed once we'd served our purpose. But now he's dead, and the Republic is in disarray. We still have our droid armies. We can still win this war. Poe Nudo of the Hypercommunications Cartel nods in agreement. Our factories are still producing battle droids by the millions. The Republic fleet is scattered and leaderless. This is our chance to strike at the core worlds while they're vulnerable. But San Hill of the Intergalactic Banking Clan shakes his head. We need leadership, someone who can coordinate our forces and exploit this opportunity. They all turn to look at the empty chair where Count Dooku once sat a day. The Sith Lord was their leader, their strategist. But he's been missing for days, not responding to communications. Some fear he's dead. Others suspect he's abandoned them. Then the doors burst open and a figure strides in. General Grievous, the supreme commander of the droid armies. The cyborg warlord's mechanical breathing fills the chamber. I have received word that my master, Darth Tyrannus, is dead. Sidious is dead as well. The Sith have fallen, and good riddance to them. They used us, manipulated us, treated us as pawns in their game. But we are more than that. The Separatist Alliance was founded on legitimate grievances. The Republic is corrupt, bloated, inefficient. It has failed the Outer Rim worlds for 1,000 years. Now is our chance to replace it, not with another Sith empire, but with a droid empire, where loyalty is programmed and betrayal is impossible. Newt Gunray stutters a protest. But General, we're not equipped to rule a galaxy. We're businessmen, not military leaders. Grievous's eyes burn with cold fire as he stares down at the Neimoidian. Then you will do as I command, or you will be replaced. I have 4 million battle droids under my control. I have factories on 100 worlds. And I have no master to hold me back anymore. The Separatist Council will provide resources and legitimacy, but I will lead our forces to victory. Anyone who disagrees can step forward now. No one moves. Grievous turns to the tactical display and begins issuing orders. The droid armies, which had been in disarray without clear leadership, suddenly surge forward with renewed purpose. On Maigito, a droid army overwhelms the Republic garrison. On Felucia, battle droids march through the fungal forests, hunting down clone stragglers. On Christophsis, a massive invasion force descends from orbit. The Separatists are striking everywhere at once, exploiting the chaos of Order 66 and Palpatine's death. Republic forces, already stretched thin and dealing with the inhibitor chip crisis, struggle to respond. Some clone commanders refuse to stand down until their chips are removed, still following the kill all Jedi programming. Others remove their chips voluntarily, but are left leaderless and confused without Jedi generals. The Republic military is fracturing, and Grievous intends to shatter it completely. Back on Coruscant, the Jedi Temple is secured. Anakin and Shakti have managed to save most of the younglings and Padawans, the clones of the 501st. Those whose chips have been removed now defend the temple against both their still-programmed brothers and the chaos spreading through the city. Anakin stands in the council chamber, exhausted and bloodied but alive. Around him, a handful of Jedi Masters gather. Shakti, Kit Fisto, wounded but recovering. Mace Windu, his arm in a sling. And Yoda, who arrived during the fighting. They look at each other, survivors of a catastrophe that nearly destroyed their entire order. Master Windu speaks first, his voice heavy with grief. Hundreds of Jedi are dead, maybe more. We failed to see the threat right in front of us. We failed to protect our own. Yoda taps his Geimer stick against the floor. Failed, yes, but ended. The story is not. Survived we have. A chance to rebuild we have been given, but different we must be. The old ways, the old mistakes, cannot be repeated. Shakti nods. We became generals, commanders. We forgot we were peacekeepers. We let ourselves become entangled in politics and war. If we're to continue, we need to remember what it truly means to be Jedi. Kit Fisto turns to Anakin, who stands slightly apart from the others. And what about you, Skywalker? You saved the temple. You saved the younglings. The Council owes you more than we can ever repay. But I sense darkness in you still. You were close to Palpatine. Very close. What was your relationship with the Chancellor? Anakin meets his gaze steadily, not flinching from the question. He told me he could teach me to stop people from dying. He promised me the power to save those I love. I believed him because I was afraid. Afraid of losing my wife. Afraid of not being good enough. And he used that fear to manipulate me. I almost fell. Almost became something terrible. But I chose not to. I chose to save the temple instead. Mace Windu studies him for a long moment. The darkness is still there. I can feel it. You've touched the dark side, Anakin. That's not something that just goes away. But you're right about one thing. You chose. That matters. The question is, what will you choose going forward? Anakin's hand drops to his lightsaber, and for a moment, the council tenses. Then he draws the weapon and holds it out to Master Windu. I don't know if I can be a Jedi anymore. Not the way the council wants. But I can fight. I can protect people. And I can make sure what Palpatine tried to do never happens again. If you'll have me, I'll serve. But I won't lie and pretend the darkness isn't there. I'll just make sure it doesn't control me. Yoda hobbles forward and places a hand on Anakin's arm, gently pushing the lightsaber back toward him. Keep your blade, young Skywalker. Earned it you have. A Jedi Knight you are, and a Jedi Knight you shall remain. But honest about your struggles you must be. Help you, we will. Watch you, we will. But trust you, we do. Proven yourself, you have. The council agrees, and for the first time in his life, Anakin feels truly accepted by them, not because he's the chosen one, or because he has exceptional power, but because he made the right choice when it mattered most. It's a fragile trust, but it's a beginning. The days that follow are chaotic. The Senate investigation into Palpatine's activities uncovers a web of corruption and manipulation that goes back decades. Secret bank accounts funding both sides of the war, communications with separatist leaders, plans for something called Order 66, and dozens of other contingency orders. Evidence of his Sith identity scattered throughout his private offices. The sheer scope of his deception is staggering, and it sends shockwaves through the Republic. Some senators resign in shame, admitting they were complicit in enabling his rise to power. Others double down, claiming the evidence is fabricated. Senator Padme Amidala becomes one of the leaders of the reform movement. Despite her pregnancy and the personal turmoil of her relationship with Anakin, she throws herself into the work of rebuilding the Republic. She proposes sweeping reforms, limits on executive power, greater autonomy for Outer Rim worlds, stricter oversight of the military. Not everyone agrees with her proposals, but her voice carries weight. She's a reminder of what the Republic is supposed to stand for: justice, democracy, and the rule of law. Not the autocratic nightmare Palpatine was building. The clone army undergoes a massive transformation. Medical teams work around the clock to remove inhibitor chips from every single clone trooper. It's a monumental task. Millions of soldiers spread across thousands of worlds, all needing surgery to free them from their programming. Some clones, upon being freed, choose to continue serving. The Republic is their home, and they want to protect it. A few even join the Separatists, unable to forgive the Republic for using them as slaves. But most, like Captain Rex, remain loyal and committed to making things right. Rex stands before Anakin in the temple hangar, his helmet off, his expression serious. "General, I need you to know something. What we did, what we were forced to do, it's going to haunt us for the rest of our lives. My brothers killed Jedi. They fought beside friends they trusted, and we couldn't stop ourselves. I don't know how we're supposed to live with that." Anakin places a hand on his shoulder. "We live with it by making sure it never happens again, by being better than what Palpatine tried to make us. You're not weapons, Rex. You're men. And men can choose who they want to be." Rex nods slowly. and Anakin can see the gratitude in his eyes. Together, they begin organizing the clones into a new kind of military, one based on choice and honor, not compulsion and fear. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Separatists press their advantage. General Grievous is a brilliant strategist, and without Palpatine's hidden sabotage, the droid armies are devastatingly effective. They take system after system, pushing deeper into Republic space. The Republic fleet, still reorganizing after the inhibitor chip crisis, struggles to mount an effective defense. Battles are lost. Worlds fall. Refugees flood toward the core, seeking safety. The Senate realizes they need to respond, and they turn to the Jedi for help. But the Jedi Council is reluctant. They've just survived an attempt to genocide their entire order. Do they really want to return to being generals? The debate rages within the council chamber. Master Windu argues for caution. We became too entangled in the war before. That's part of what blinded us to Palpatine. We should focus on healing, on rebuilding our order, not on military campaigns. But Shak Ti counters. If we stand aside, millions will die. The Separatists aren't going to stop because we're tired of fighting. We have a responsibility to protect the innocent. Kit Fisto suggests a middle path. We can help without leading armies. We can serve as advisors, peacekeepers, negotiators, but we shouldn't take command of military forces again. That's not what Jedi are supposed to be. Yoda listens to all sides, his eyes closed in meditation. Finally, he speaks. Serve the Republic, we must, but as Jedi, not as generals. Help where we can, we will. Protect the innocent, we shall. But lead armies, we will not. That lesson, learned it we have. The Council agrees, and Jedi are dispatched across the galaxy, not as military commanders, but as guardians. They defend refugee convoys, evacuate civilians from war zones, negotiate ceasefires where possible. It's dangerous work, and more Jedi die in these missions. But they're dying as Jedi, protecting others, not as soldiers conquering territory. Anakin Skywalker is given command of a task force, but it's a unique arrangement. He leads clone troopers, yes, but he's not fighting for the Republic's military objectives. He's fighting to protect people. His first mission takes him to Ryloth, where a separatist invasion force is enslaving the Twi'lek population. The Republic has written off the world, focusing on defending the core. But Anakin refuses to abandon them. He takes his ships and his men, Rex at his side, and jumps into the Ryloth system. The battle is fierce. Vulture droids swarm his fighters. Capital ships exchange broadsides with his cruisers. But Anakin fights with a clarity he's never had before. He's not fighting for the Republic or the Jedi or even for glory. He's fighting because these people need help, and he has the power to give it. His forces break through the Separatist blockade and land on Ryloth's surface. Clone troopers, now fighting because they choose to, not because they're programmed, storm the droid positions. Anakin leads from the front, his lightsaber cutting through battle droids with practiced ease. The freed Twi'leks join the fight, using their knowledge of the terrain to ambush droid patrols. Together, they liberate city after city, driving the Separatists off-world. When it's over, the Twi'lek leader, Cham Syndulla, approaches Anakin. You didn't have to come. The Republic abandoned us, but you came anyway. Why? Anakin looks at the freed slaves, at the families reuniting, at the children who will grow up free because he acted, because it was the right thing to do. The Republic may have failed you, but I won't. Cham clasps his arm in gratitude. Then Ryloth owes you a debt. If you ever need us, we'll be there. The victory on Ryloth spreads hope across the galaxy. Other systems see that not all Republic forces have abandoned them. Anakin's name becomes synonymous with protection and justice. He's no longer just the chosen one or a powerful Jedi. He's a symbol of what the Republic could be if it lived up to its ideals. But not everyone sees it that way. On Utapau, General Grievous watches the reports of Anakin's victory with cold calculation. Skywalker, the Jedi prophesied to bring balance to the Force. He's becoming a problem. If I'm to conquer the Republic, I need to eliminate him. He begins planning a trap. On Mandalore, the warrior world remains neutral in the conflict, but internal tensions are rising. Death Watch, the extremist faction, sees the chaos as an opportunity. They've always believed Mandalore should return to its warrior roots. And with the Republic and Separatists both weakened, now is the time to strike. Their leader, Pre Vizsla, receives a message from an unexpected source. A hologram activates, showing a horned figure with burning yellow eyes. Darth Maul, the former Sith Lord, survived his bisection on Naboo through sheer hatred. He spent years recovering, rebuilding his body with cybernetic legs, and gathering power in the criminal underworld. He's created a vast criminal empire called Crimson Dawn, controlling smuggling, slavery, and mercenary operations across the Outer Rim. But Maul wants more than wealth. He wants revenge. Revenge on the Jedi who cut him down. Revenge on the Sith who abandoned him. Revenge on a galaxy that left him to rot. And to get it, he needs an army. Death Watch will be that army. Pre Vizsla, I have a proposition. Help me take control of Mandalore, and I'll give you the war you've always dreamed of. Pre Vizsla considers the offer. He's heard of Maul, of his power and his ruthlessness, but he's also a realist. Death Watch alone can't overthrow Duchess Satine's government. They need help, and Maul has resources. What do you get out of this? Maul's smile is cold. A throne, an army, and the opportunity to destroy everyone who's ever wronged me. Starting with Obi-Wan Kenobi, the two form an alliance. Maul's criminal network provides weapons, credits, and intelligence. Death Watch provides soldiers and legitimacy. Together, they plan their coup. They'll take Mandalore, use its warriors to build a new power base, and then strike out at both the Republic and the Separatists. It's ambitious, perhaps mad. But Maul has always been driven by ambition and madness in equal measure. On Coruscant, Padmé's pregnancy progresses. She's in her final trimester now, and the medical droids have confirmed she's carrying twins. The news fills her with joy and terror in equal measure. 2 children, 2 lives depending on her and Anakin. She thinks about the galaxy they'll inherit, the wars, the chaos, the uncertainty. Will they grow up in a republic restored to its ideals, or will they know nothing but conflict? She places her hands on her belly and makes a silent promise. Whatever happens, I'll fight for a better future for you both. I'll fight until my last breath. Anakin returns from Ryloth and spends a few precious days with her. They don't talk about the war or the Jedi or the Senate. They talk about baby names, about where they'll live, about the future they'll build together. For those few days, they're not a Jedi Knight and a senator. They're just a husband and wife preparing to become parents. But reality intrudes too soon. Reports come in of a massive separatist buildup near Mandalore. General Grievous is gathering his forces for a major offensive, and the target seems to be the neutral systems. If Mandalore falls, dozens of other neutral worlds will follow, either joining the separatists or being conquered by them. The Jedi Council debates how to respond. Obi-Wan Kenobi, who has a history with Mandalore and Duchess Satine, volunteers to lead a diplomatic mission. Anakin insists on accompanying him. The two Jedi, master and former apprentice, prepare for what may be their most dangerous mission yet. Ahsoka Tano, Anakin's former Padawan who survived Order 66 by faking her death and living in the underworld, reveals herself and asks to join them. Anakin embraces her, relief flooding through him. He thought he'd lost her. Together, the three Jedi travel to Mandalore with a small force. Captain Rex and a squad of the 500 and 1st. Senator Amidala, against all protests, insists on coming as well. She's a senator, and Mandalore's neutrality is a political issue. Plus, she knows Duchess Satine personally and may be able to help negotiate. They arrive to find Mandalore in turmoil. Death Watch has launched their coup, and the capital city of Sundari is under siege. Duchess Satine's forces are holding, but barely. Obi-Wan's concern for her is obvious, and Anakin and Ahsoka exchange knowing glances. They've always suspected their former master had feelings for the Duchess, but he's never admitted it. Now, seeing the fear in his eyes, they know for certain. They fight their way through the city, battling Death Watch warriors who attack with jetpacks and blasters. These aren't droids or mind-controlled clones. They're skilled fighters who believe in their cause. It makes the battle more difficult, more personal. They reach the palace to find Duchess Satine barricaded in the throne room with her royal guard. She's alive, but exhausted, her pacifist ideals tested to their limit. Obi-Wan rushes to her side, and the relief on both their faces is palpable. Obi-Wan, I thought I'd never see you again. I'm here now. We'll get you to safety. But before they can evacuate, the doors explode inward. Death Watch floods the room, led by Pre Vizsla wielding the Darksaber, and behind him, Darth Maul. Obi-Wan's face goes white. Maul, you're alive. The former Sith Lord laughs, the sound harsh and bitter. Alive and stronger than ever. Kenobi, you took my legs, you took my life. Now I'll take everything from you. The battle erupts. Anakin and Ahsoka engage the Death Watch warriors while Obi-Wan faces Maul. The throne room becomes a war zone. Lightsabers clashing, blasters firing, the Darksaber's unique hum mixing with the chaos. Pre Vizsla joins the fight, attacking Anakin with the ancient Mandalorian blade. The Darksaber is a unique weapon, and Vizsla wields it with skill born of generations of training. But Anakin is the best duelist of his generation, and even the Darksaber's unique properties can't overcome his raw power and technique. Their blades lock, and Anakin can feel the dark side emanating from the ancient weapon. It's been wielded by warriors for thousands of years, and it hungers for battle. Vizsla grins beneath his helmet, "You're strong, Jedi, but you're also distracted." He activates his jetpack and launches backward, then unleashes a barrage of missiles from his gauntlets. Anakin deflects some with his lightsaber and dodges others, using the Force to leap clear of the explosions. But the attack creates an opening for Death Watch to press forward. Ahsoka fights beside him, her twin white lightsabers moving in perfect synchronization. She's grown so much since she was his Padawan, no longer the impulsive youngling, but a skilled warrior in her own right. Together, they hold the line, protecting Padme and Duchess Satine. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan duels Maul, and old wounds open with every strike. Their history is written in every movement. Obi-Wan can't forget the sight of Qui-Gon Jinn falling to this monster's blade. Maul can't forget being cut in half and left to die. They fight with a ferocity that goes beyond technique, beyond strategy. This is personal. Maul unleashes a flurry of strikes with his double-bladed lightsaber, the weapon spinning in complex patterns that would overwhelm most opponents. But Obi-Wan is a master of Soresu, the most defensive of all lightsaber forms. He blocks every strike, his blade always in the right position, his movements economical and precise. Frustration builds in Maul. He can feel his power, feel the dark side coursing through him. But Obi-Wan's defense is impenetrable. Good, good. Let your anger grow, Maul. It blinds you, makes you sloppy. You'll never defeat me as long as you're ruled by hate. The taunt has the desired effect. Maul roars and charges, abandoning technique for raw aggression. It's a mistake. Obi-Wan sidesteps and strikes, his lightsaber cutting through one end of Maul's double-bladed weapon. The Zabrak stumbles, off balance, and Obi-Wan presses his advantage. Their blades lock, and they stand face to face. "Why?" Obi-Wan asks quietly. "Why this path? Why so much hatred?" Maul's eyes burn with yellow fire. "Because I was taken as a child, trained to be a weapon, used and discarded by masters who saw me as nothing but a tool. The Sith, the Jedi, the Republic, the Separatists. You're all the same. You use people and throw them away when they're no longer useful. But I won't be used anymore. I'll forge my own destiny, and I'll make everyone who wronged me pay." For a moment, Obi-Wan sees not a monster, but a broken being shaped by endless cruelty. He almost pities him. But pity won't stop Maul from hurting others. "I'm sorry for what was done to you, truly. But you don't get to hurt innocents because you're in pain. That's not justice. That's just spreading your suffering to others." He shoves Maul back and slashes low, forcing the Zabrak to leap away. Before Maul can recover, Anakin joins the fight. Pre Vizsla lies on the ground, disarmed and unconscious. Death Watch is in retreat. Now it's 2 Jedi against 1 fallen Sith. Maul realizes he's outmatched. He throws his remaining lightsaber at Duchess Satine, forcing both Jedi to react. Obi-Wan leaps to intercept, using the Force to catch the blade before it reaches her. Anakin charges at Maul, but the Zabrak is already running. He crashes through a window and uses the Force to cushion his fall, landing in the streets below. His Death Watch forces are scattering. Their coup failed. But Maul isn't done. He'll regroup, rebuild, and return. He always does. For now, Mandalore is safe. Duchess Satine thanks the Jedi. her eyes lingering on Obi-Wan. "You saved my life." Again, he smiles. A rare, genuine expression. It's becoming a habit. She takes his hand, and in that moment, years of unspoken feelings pass between them. But duty calls. The Separatist fleet is still approaching, and Grievous won't let the failure of Maul's coup stop him. The Jedi prepare to defend Mandalore from the coming invasion, but they know they're outnumbered. They need help, and they need it fast. Back on Coruscant, the Senate receives word of the situation. Tarkin, now openly leading his faction of the military, argues for abandoning Mandalore. Let the Separatists have it. We need to consolidate our forces and defend the core worlds. But Bail Organa and Padme counter. If we abandon Mandalore, we lose the support of the entire neutral systems bloc. They'll see that the Republic only protects its own interests, not its principles. We have to help them. The Senate votes, and it's close. But ultimately, they approve sending reinforcements. But here's the catch. Most of the Republic fleet is under Tarkin's faction now. He controls the ships, the clones, the resources. If he refuses to send help, the Senate's vote is meaningless. Tarkin considers his options. He doesn't care about Mandalore, but he does care about appearances. If he openly defies the Senate, it will undermine his position. Better to send a token force and let them fail, proving that the Senate's weak democratic process doesn't work. He dispatches a small fleet, enough to say he tried, not enough to actually win. But he doesn't account for Anakin Skywalker. Anakin rallies the neutral systems, calling in every favor he's earned. Cham Syndulla brings Twi'lek fighters from Ryloth. The Wookiees send warriors from Kashyyyk. Even pirates and smugglers who've benefited from Anakin's protection join the cause. It's not a professional military. It's a ragtag coalition, but it's enough. The Battle of Mandalore begins when General Grievous's fleet arrives. Hundreds of Separatist capital ships drop out of hyperspace, disgorging swarms of vulture droids and droid starfighters. The defense fleet is laughably outnumbered, but they don't need to win. They just need to hold long enough for reinforcements to arrive. Anakin leads the fighter squadrons himself, his modified Jedi starfighter cutting through droid formations. Ahsoka flies on his wing, her piloting skills nearly matching his own. Rex commands one of the few Republic cruisers, coordinating defensive fire. The battle is brutal. Ships explode, pilots die, but they hold the line. On Grievous's flagship, the cyborg general watches with frustration. This should be an easy victory. His forces outnumber the defenders 10-1. But the Jedi are proving more troublesome than expected. Skywalker, especially. The man flies like he's one with his ship, dodging fire that should kill him, making shots that should be impossible. It's infuriating. Grievous decides to take matters into his own hands. He boards a personal fighter and launches into the battle, targeting Anakin directly. The two engage in a high-speed dogfight above Mandalore's atmosphere. Anakin's skill is incredible, but Grievous has cybernetic enhancements that grant him superhuman reflexes. They weave through debris fields, use destroyed ships as cover, trade missile locks and laser fire. It's the most intense dogfight of Anakin's life. Back on the surface, Obi-Wan, Duchess, Satine, and Padme coordinate the ground defenses. Droid landing craft are touching down outside the cities, disgorging thousands of battle droids, Mandalorian warriors, both those loyal to Satine and former Death Watch members who've united against the external threat, prepare to defend their homeworld. It's strange seeing them fight together, but shared danger has a way of erasing old grudges. Obi-Wan leads the defense, his tactical mind organizing the scattered forces into an effective resistance. But he's worried. The battle in space isn't going well. And if the fleet falls, orbital bombardment will destroy the cities. Then, just when all seems lost, dozens of ships drop out of hyperspace. Republic reinforcements, but not Tarkin's token force. This is a real fleet, dozens of capital ships and hundreds of fighters. Leading them is a familiar face, Master Plo Koon, flying his modified Jedi starfighter. He survived the attack on Cato Neimoidia by ejecting before his ship exploded, and he spent the weeks since recovering and gathering forces. Master Skywalker, I hope we're not too late. Anakin grins, relief flooding through him. Your timing is perfect, Master Plo. The reinforcements turn the tide. Grievous's fleet, caught between the defenders and the new arrivals, finds itself suddenly on the defensive. The cyborg general realizes he's been outmaneuvered. He orders a retreat, but not before launching a final attack. His personal fighter locks onto Anakin's, and he fires everything he has. Anakin sees it coming but can't dodge them all. His ship takes several hits, systems failing, hull breaching. He's going down, but he doesn't panic. He uses the Force to guide his crippled ship, aiming for Grievous's flagship. If he's going to crash, he'll take the general with him. Grievous realizes what's happening and tries to evade, but it's too late. Anakin's ship, moving at incredible speed, slams into the flagship's bridge. The impact is catastrophic. The entire command section explodes, and the flagship begins to list, secondary explosions rippling across its hull. Anakin ejects at the last second, using the Force to slow his fall as he plummets toward Mandalore's surface. Ahsoka and Rex swoop in with a rescue ship, catching him mid-fall. Grievous, his body damaged but functional, escapes in a pod. He won't be beaten so easily. But without his flagship, and with his fleet in disarray, he's forced to retreat. The Battle of Mandalore is a victory for the Republic, but it's costly. Hundreds of ships destroyed, thousands of lives lost, and Grievous remains at large, ready to strike again. But something important was proven. The Republic can still win. United, with Jedi and clones and civilians all fighting together, they can stand against the Separatists. It's a lesson that won't be forgotten. In the aftermath, Anakin is hailed as a hero. The Senate wants to give him medals, makes speeches about his bravery, but he's not interested in ceremonies. He returns to Coruscant, to Padme, who's now in the final weeks of her pregnancy. They don't have much time left before the twins arrive. He holds her, feeling the babies moving inside her, and for the first time in months, he lets himself hope. Maybe they can survive this. Maybe they can build the future they've dreamed of. But fate has other plans. Padme goes into labor early, complications arising from the stress of recent events. The medical droids do their best, but it's difficult. Anakin paces outside the medical bay, fear gnawing at him. This is what he feared, what drove him toward Palpatine in the first place. The possibility of losing her, But there's no Sith Lord to turn to now. No dark power to save her. All he has is hope and the skilled hands of the medical team. Hours pass like years. Finally, the doors open and a medical droid emerges. Congratulations, Master Skywalker. You have a son and a daughter, both healthy, and your wife is stable. Relief nearly drives Anakin to his knees. He rushes inside to find Padme, exhausted but smiling, holding two tiny bundles. Meet Luke and Leia, our children. Anakin takes his son in one arm and his daughter in the other, and the weight of them, the reality of them, fills him with wonder. These are his children, his legacy, and he will do everything in his power to give them a galaxy worth living in. The news spreads quickly. The hero of Mandalore is now a father. It's a moment of joy in a galaxy that's known too much darkness. But not everyone is celebrating. On his Star Destroyer, Tarkin watches the reports with cold calculation. Skywalker is becoming too popular, too influential. He's a symbol that people rally around, and that makes him dangerous to Tarkin's plans. He begins considering how to neutralize this threat. Perhaps the Jedi can be turned against him. Perhaps the Senate can be convinced he's too powerful. Or perhaps more direct action is needed. On Utapau, General Grievous repairs his damaged body and plots his revenge. He will kill Skywalker, no matter the cost. And deep in the unknown regions of space, on a planet shrouded in darkness, ancient Sith artifacts begin to stir. Palpatine may be dead, but the dark side is eternal. It seeks out those with the will to wield it, those with ambition and anger and hatred in their hearts. And it finds them. Agents begin gathering, drawn by whispers. In the Force, they don't know each other, don't have a master to serve, but they share a vision. The Sith will rise again. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday. And when they do, the galaxy will burn. For now, though, there's peace. Fragile, uncertain, hard-won peace. The Republic is reforming, slowly shedding the corruption Palpatine built. The Jedi are rebuilding, learning from their mistakes. And in a quiet apartment on Coruscant, Anakin Skywalker holds his children and lets himself imagine a future without war. The Jedi Council meets to discuss the future. With Palpatine dead and the immediate crisis over, they need to decide what the Order will look like going forward. Master Windu proposes strict adherence to the old ways. No attachments, no political entanglements, complete dedication to the Force. But others, like Kit Fisto and Shak Ti, argue for reform. The old ways failed. They need to be more flexible, more in touch with the galaxy they're supposed to protect. Yoda listens to all perspectives, his ancient eyes thoughtful. A balance we must find. Too rigid, we were. Too removed from the people's lives. But abandon all tradition, we cannot. Adapt, we must, but not forget who we are. The decision is made. The Jedi will reform, but carefully. They'll allow more freedom, acknowledge that Jedi are people with feelings and connections, but they'll also maintain their core principles. No aggression, no domination, service and protection above all else. Anakin is called before the council for a special meeting. He enters the chamber, expecting another interrogation about his darkness. Instead, Master Windu stands and addresses him formally. Anakin Skywalker, you have proven yourself time and again. You saved the temple. You defended Mandalore. You embody what a Jedi should be. Not perfect, but always striving to do right. The Council has decided to grant you the rank of Master. Anakin stares, unable to believe what he's hearing. After years of being denied, after all his mistakes and failures, they're finally recognizing him. Thank you, Masters. I won't let you down. Yoda hobbles forward. Remember, young Master Skywalker, with this rank comes great responsibility. A teacher you must become. Pass on what you have learned. Guide the next generation. Anakin nods solemnly. He thinks of Ahsoka, his former Padawan who's become a great warrior in her own right. He thinks of Luke and Leia, who will one day need to learn the Force. He's ready to teach. Months pass. The war continues, but the character of it changes. The Republic, reformed and with clearer purpose, begins to truly push back against the Separatists. Tarkin's faction remains a problem. A military dictatorship in all but name, but they're isolated and losing support. The Jedi, no longer serving as generals but as peacekeepers, make a real difference. They negotiate truces, protect civilians, hunt down war criminals. Slowly, system by system, the Separatists are rolled back. Grievous fights brilliantly, but even he can't overcome the united will of the galaxy. His forces are pushed into the Outer Rim, then into the unknown regions. Finally, he makes his last stand on Utapau, the world where this crisis began. Obi-Wan Kenobi leads the assault, and this time, there's no Order 66 to interrupt him. The battle is fierce. Clone troopers, now free men fighting for what they believe in, storm the Separatist positions. Jedi provide support, but they don't lead. It's the clones' fight, their chance to prove they're more than weapons. Obi-Wan finds Grievous in the command center, the cyborg general surrounded by his elite Magna Guards. The duel is everything their interrupted fight on this world should have been. Grievous unleashes 4 lightsabers, spinning and slashing in a whirlwind of death. But Obi-Wan is patient. He waits for his opening, and when it comes, he strikes. His lightsaber cuts through Grievous's chest plate, exposing the organic components inside. A single blaster shot from Commander Cody ends the cyborg's life. With Grievous dead, the Separatist military collapses. The droid armies shut down, their central command destroyed. The Separatist Council, facing capture and trial for war crimes, attempts to flee. Some escape. Others are caught. Justice, imperfect but real, is served. The Clone Wars are over. The galaxy has survived its darkest hour, but the peace is fragile. Tarkin's Imperial faction still controls portions of the Outer Rim. His Death Star project continues in secret, and in the shadows, the Sith wait for their opportunity. But for now, there's hope. The Republic, reformed and strengthened, begins the long process of healing. The Jedi Order, smaller but wiser, serves as it was always meant to. And Anakin Skywalker, Jedi Master, stands with his family and looks toward the future. Luke and Leia are toddlers now, bright and curious and incredibly strong in the Force. Anakin can feel their potential every time he holds them. Luke is adventurous, always trying to climb higher, reach further. Leia is determined, never accepting no for an answer. They're perfect, and they represent everything good about the galaxy. Padme watches Anakin with them and sees the man she fell in love with, not the angry, fearful warrior who almost fell to darkness, but the kind, passionate person who wants to make the galaxy better. On Naboo, in the lake country where they were married, the family takes a rare vacation. The war is over, and for the first time in years, they can simply be together. Anakin teaches Luke and Leia to feel the Force, showing them how to move small objects, how to sense the living energy around them. They're too young to understand the implications, but they laugh with delight when their toys float in the air. Padme joins them, and though she's not Force-sensitive, she's part of this family, this moment of peace. Obi-Wan visits, his relationship with Duchess Satine now public and accepted. The Jedi have reformed enough to allow such attachments, recognizing that love doesn't always lead to the dark side. Master, I never thanked you properly for believing in me when I was lost, for not giving up on me. Obi-Wan smiles, watching Luke chase a butterfly through the gardens. You were my Padawan, Anakin. More than that, you were my brother. I could never give up on you. They stand together in comfortable silence, two Jedi who've been through hell and survived. The moment is broken by Ahsoka's arrival. She's been working in the Outer Rim, helping refugee worlds rebuild. Her presence is a reminder that there's still work to be done, still people who need help. But for now, they allow themselves this moment of peace. Back on Coruscant, the Senate continues its reforms. Chancellor Mon Mothma, elected after months of careful deliberation, works tirelessly to undo Palpatine's damage. Emergency powers are rescinded. Oversight committees are established. The military is downsized and brought under civilian control, though Tarkin's faction resists at every turn. Senator Bail Organa heads a commission on clone rights, working to ensure the troopers are treated as citizens, not property. Many clones choose to retire, taking the Republic's offer of land and citizenship. Others remain in service, now called the Republic Defense Force, protecting the galaxy by choice rather than programming. Captain Rex stands before the Senate, representing his brothers in a historic address. We were created to be weapons, born in tubes, programmed to obey, designed to die in battle. But we're more than that. We're men, with thoughts and feelings and dreams. Some of us want to settle down, start families, live peaceful lives. Others want to keep serving, protecting the Republic we fought for. We're asking for the right to choose. The Senate grants that right, and it's a turning point. The clones are finally free. Rex retires to Selos, a desert world in the Outer Rim, where many of his brothers have settled. They build a community there, farming and living quietly. But Rex keeps his armor, his weapons, just in case the galaxy needs them again. On Kamino, the cloning facilities are shut down. The Kaminoans protest, claiming their work is for the good of the Republic. But the Senate is firm. No more slave armies, No more beings created solely for war. The technology is sealed, forbidden. Some argue it should be destroyed entirely, but others point out it could have medical applications. The debate continues. But for now, the clones of Camino are the last of their kind. Each one precious, each one irreplaceable. In the Jedi Temple, a new generation of younglings trains. The Order nearly died, and now it's being reborn. But this time, the teachings are different. Master Yoda himself oversees the curriculum changes. Teach them to feel, we must. Not just to think. Emotions, not the enemy they are. How we respond to them, that is what matters. The younglings learn combat, yes, but also compassion. They learn to meditate, but also to engage with the world. They're encouraged to form bonds, to care about people, to be part of the galaxy they're protecting. It's a radical departure from the old ways, and not everyone agrees with it. Some older Jedi leave the Order, believing it's straying too far from tradition. But most stay, recognizing that the old ways led to stagnation and blindness. Anakin takes on several Padawans, teaching them what he's learned. That darkness isn't something to fear, but to understand and master. That power means nothing without compassion. That the greatest strength is choosing the light when the dark side calls. But not all threats have been eliminated. On his Star Destroyer, now orbiting a remote world in the Outer Rim, Tarkin continues to build his faction. The Death Star construction proceeds slowly but steadily. He's recruited the best engineers, offered them wealth and power beyond imagination. The station grows day by day, a moon-sized weapon capable of destroying entire planets. Tarkin knows he can't challenge the Republic openly. Not yet. But once the Death Star is complete, everything will change. One shot from its super laser, one planet reduced to rubble, and the galaxy will kneel before him. He just needs time. His second-in-command, Admiral Motti, expresses concerns. Sir, the Republic is stabilizing. Their reforms are popular. The Jedi are rebuilding. The longer we wait, the harder it will be to strike. Tarkin steeples his fingers, his expression cold. Patience, Admiral. We're not building just a weapon, we're building a symbol. When the galaxy sees what we can do, when they witness the power we command, fear will do the work for us. Systems will surrender without a shot fired. The Jedi will be revealed as powerless to protect anyone, and the people will beg for the Order and security only we can provide. Motti nods, but doubt lingers in his eyes. He's seen what the Jedi can do. He's seen Anakin Skywalker destroy entire fleets. Can even the Death Star stand against that? On Dathomir, Mother Talzin communes with the dark side. The Night Sisters lost many in the war, and she's focused on rebuilding her clan. But she senses something in the Force, a gathering darkness. The Sith may be gone, but their legacy remains. Ancient holocrons, forgotten temples, teachings that corrupt those who find them. She reaches out across the galaxy, using her magic to see the threads of fate. She sees Tarkin's weapon. She sees the scattered Sith cultists. She sees the Skywalker twins, bright lights in the Force, targets for anyone seeking power. A storm is coming, she realizes. Not today, perhaps not for years, But it's coming. She sends a message to the Jedi Council, warning them. Yoda receives it and meditates on her words. Agree with her? I do. The dark side, weakened, but not destroyed. Vigilant, we must remain. He calls together the council and shares Talzin's warning. They discuss how to respond. Master Windu suggests hunting down Sith artifacts, destroying them before they can be misused. Kit Fisto proposes establishing outposts in former Sith territories, monitoring for any dark side activity. Shakti argues they should focus on training Jedi in how to resist corruption, making the Order stronger from within. All good ideas, Yoda agrees. Do all of them. We shall. The Jedi launch a quiet campaign against the dark side. Teams are sent to former Sith worlds, recovering and destroying artifacts. Holocrons are locked away in the deepest vaults of the temple, guarded by the strongest Jedi. Younglings are taught about the Sith, not as bogeymen, but as a real threat to be understood and resisted. It's a new age for the Jedi, one where they acknowledge darkness exists and must be actively opposed, not just ignored. Anakin leads one such mission to Korriban, the ancient Sith homeworld. The planet is a wasteland, steeped in dark side energy. Tombs of long-dead Sith lords dot the landscape, each one a repository of forbidden knowledge. Anakin feels the pull of the dark side stronger here than anywhere else. It whispers to him, promising power, offering answers to questions he didn't know he had. But he's prepared for this. He centers himself, remembering Padme, remembering Luke and Leia, remembering why he chose the light. Master Skywalker, we've found something. One of the clone troopers, now serving voluntarily in the Republic Defense Force, leads him to a chamber deep beneath the surface. Inside, a Sith holocron pulses with dark energy. Anakin can feel it trying to corrupt him, trying to show him visions of power and domination. He resists and carefully places the holocron in a force-proof container. This will be taken to the temple and locked away where it can't hurt anyone. But as he turns to leave, a voice echoes in the chamber. Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one. You think you've won, but you've only delayed the inevitable. The Sith will return. We always return. Anakin ignites his lightsaber, but there's no one there. Just the echo of long-dead Sith, their malice lingering in the stone. He leaves Korriban knowing the fight isn't over. It will never be over. The dark side is eternal, and there will always be those drawn to its power. But so is the light, and as long as there are Jedi willing to stand against darkness, the galaxy has hope. Back on Coruscant, he reports his findings to the Council. The Sith may be gone, but their influence remains. We need to be vigilant. Years pass. Luke and Leia grow from toddlers to children. They're inseparable, despite their different personalities. Luke dreams of adventure, of flying starfighters, and exploring the galaxy. Leia is drawn to politics, attending Senate sessions with her mother, learning how the Republic functions. Both are strong in the Force, and Anakin begins their training in earnest when they turn 7. He's gentle with them, never pushing too hard, always making it fun. They learn to sense emotions, to move objects, to enhance their physical abilities. But more importantly, they learn why Jedi exist. To protect those who can't protect themselves. To stand up for what's right, even when it's hard. to choose compassion over anger, understanding over hatred. One day, Luke asks the question Anakin has been dreading. "Father, Master Yoda says you almost fell to the dark side. What does that mean?" Anakin sits with both his children, choosing his words carefully. "It means I was scared. Scared of losing the people I love. And that fear made me angry, made me willing to do terrible things to protect them. I came very close to becoming a monster." Luke's eyes widen. "But you didn't?" "No, I didn't. Because I remembered that love means more than power. That protecting people doesn't mean controlling them or hurting others. I chose to be better. And every day, I keep making that choice." Leia, wise beyond her years, nods solemnly. "So being a Jedi means choosing every day to be good?" Anakin smiles. "Exactly. It's not about never feeling anger or fear. It's about what you do with those feelings." On Tatooine, a moisture farmer named Owen Lars receives an unexpected visit. Obi-Wan Kenobi appears at his homestead, and the two men, who've never met before, size each other up. Owen knows who Obi-Wan is. Everyone in the galaxy knows about the Jedi Master who helped end the Clone Wars. But he doesn't know why a Jedi would visit a nobody like him. "Master Kenobi, what brings you to Tatooine?" Obi-Wan smiles gently. "I knew your stepmother, Shmi Skywalker. I was there when she died. I just wanted to tell you about her, about what a remarkable woman she was." They talk long into the night, and Owen learns about his stepbrother, Anakin, the slave boy who became a Jedi Master. It's a connection to a past he never fully understood, and he's grateful for it. As Obi-Wan prepares to leave, Owen stops him. "If anything ever happens, if Anakin or his family ever need help, they have a place here. Tatooine's out of the way, forgotten. Good place to hide if needed." Obi-Wan nods, filing that information away. He hopes it will never be necessary, but it's good to have options. On the other side of the galaxy, on the icy world of Hoth, a small Republic monitoring station detects something unusual. Energy readings consistent with a massive weapon being charged. The technicians report it up the chain of command, and eventually the information reaches Republic intelligence. They begin investigating, and what they discover is terrifying. Tarkin's Death Star is nearly complete. Chancellor Mon Mothma convenes an emergency session. The Senate is shown holographic projections of the station, its size, its capabilities, a weapon capable of destroying planets. The gathered senators react with shock and horror. "We can't allow this to exist. We need to act now, before it's operational." But others urge caution. Tarkin controls a significant portion of the former Republic military. If we attack directly, we could trigger a civil war. We need to be smart about this. Bail Organa proposes a solution: a covert strike force. Jedi, special forces, the best pilots we have. We hit the Death Star before it's fully operational. Disable it from within. It's risky, but it's our best chance. The Jedi Council agrees to participate. Master Windu will lead the mission, along with Kit Fisto, Shark T, and several Jedi Knights. Anakin volunteers immediately, but Yoda shakes his head. "Too important. You are a father, a master, a symbol of hope. Risk you, we cannot." Anakin wants to argue, but he understands. He has responsibilities now that go beyond his own desire to fight. Instead, he helps plan the mission, using his knowledge of starship design and military tactics. The strike force assembles in secret: Jedi, clone commandos, and a few brave pilots who flew with Anakin during the war. They load into stealth ships and set course for Tarkin's stronghold. The Death Star looms in orbit above a barren world, a moon-sized construct of metal and malice. The strike team approaches, their ships cloaked and running silent. They land in a maintenance hangar, and the infiltration begins. The station is massive, a labyrinth of corridors and chambers. Finding the reactor core will be nearly impossible without guidance. But they have an advantage. A defector from Tarkin's forces, an engineer who couldn't stomach what the weapon was designed for, has provided schematics. They make their way deeper into the station, avoiding patrols and security systems. The Jedi use the Force to sense guards before they appear. The commandos disable security cameras and alarms. It's a delicate operation, and one mistake could doom them all. They reach the reactor level and begin placing charges. The plan is simple. Overload the reactor, cause a chain reaction, and evacuate before the station explodes. But they're discovered. Alarms blare, blast doors slam shut, and stormtroopers flood the corridors. Tarkin appears on the station's intercom, his voice cold and clinical. "Jedi, I wondered if you'd come. You're too late. The Death Star is operational. In fact, I think I'll test it on your strike team's home base. Shall we say Alderaan?" The Jedi feel a chill. Alderaan, Bail Organa's homeworld, billions of innocent lives. Tarkin is bluffing, trying to distract them, but they can't take that chance. Master Windu makes a decision. Kit, Shaak Ti, finish the mission, set those charges, and get out. I'm going for Tarkin. He can't be allowed to fire that weapon. The team splits. Windu races toward the command center, while the others complete the sabotage. The corridors are chaos, stormtroopers everywhere, blaster fire echoing off metal walls. Windu cuts through them, his purple blade a blur. He's one of the greatest Jedi warriors who ever lived, and these soldiers are no match for him. He reaches the command center to find Tarkin waiting, surrounded by his officers and guards. Grand Moff, this ends now. Power down this weapon and surrender. Tarkin smiles coldly. I don't think so, Master Jedi. He presses a button, and the station's super laser begins to charge. You have 30 seconds to watch Alderaan die. Then you can join them. Windu reaches out with the Force, trying to disable the weapon's systems. But the technology is too complex, too massive. He can't stop it alone. He needs help. Across the galaxy, on Coruscant, Anakin suddenly gasps. He feels the disturbance, the gathering of dark side energy. Tarkin is about to commit genocide, and Anakin can't let it happen. He closes his eyes and reaches out, connecting with the Jedi on the Death Star. Through the Force, they merge their power. Anakin's raw strength combined with Windu's control and the collective will of every Jedi on the mission. Together, they reach into the Death Star's systems. The super laser, ready to fire, suddenly short circuits, Explosions ripple across the focusing arrays. The weapon is disabled, at least temporarily. Tarkin stares in disbelief. That's impossible. No one has that kind of power. Windu ignites his lightsaber. You underestimate the Force. Now, you're coming with me to stand trial for attempted genocide. But Tarkin draws a blaster and fires at the command console. More explosions erupt, and the entire command center begins to collapse. He's sabotaging his own station rather than let it fall into Republic hands. The Jedi are forced to flee as the Death Star tears itself apart. They race back to their ships, the corridors collapsing around them. Kit Fisto and Shakti make it to the hangar, but Windu is cut off. He has to find another way. He uses the Force to rip open a maintenance hatch and drops down, sliding through access tunnels as the station explodes around him. He emerges in a lower hangar just as the last evacuation shuttle is leaving. He leaps impossible distances, using the Force to enhance his speed, and grabs onto the shuttle's landing gear as it launches. The Death Star explodes behind them, a flower of fire blooming in the darkness of space. Tarkin and his officers die instantly, consumed by the weapon they tried to use. The threat is eliminated, but at a cost. Several of the strike team didn't make it out. Jedi Knights and clone commandos who gave their lives to stop a madman's weapon. The Republic mourns them as heroes. Anakin feels each death like a knife to his heart. He should have been there, should have fought beside them. But Yoda reminds him that he did fight, in his own way. His power, channeled across the galaxy, saved billions. The destruction of the Death Star and Tarkin's death marks a turning point. The Imperial faction, now leaderless, begins to fracture. Some officers surrender, accepting amnesty from the Republic. Others flee to the unknown regions, taking their ships and becoming warlords and pirates. A few diehards continue to resist, forming terrorist cells that strike at Republic targets. But they're a shadow of what they were, a nuisance rather than an existential threat. The galaxy, for the first time in decades, knows something approaching real peace. But peace is never permanent. The dark side still whispers to those who listen. Sith holocrons still exist, hidden in forgotten places. And ambition, greed, and hatred are eternal parts of the galaxy. On Exegol, a hidden Sith world in the unknown regions, ancient machinery activates. Cloning tanks filled with genetic material begin their work. The Sith may be dead, but their contingencies run deep. Palpatine, paranoid even in his arrogance, created backups. Clone bodies designed to house his essence, hidden away for if he ever fell. But without his spirit to inhabit them, the clones are empty shells, mindless and incomplete. They'll remain that way. Failed experiments in a forgotten laboratory. But the attempt was made, and it's a reminder. The dark side is patient. It can wait years, decades, centuries for its chance to return. The Jedi know this. They remain vigilant, always watching for signs of Sith resurgence. Luke and Leia, now 10 years old, continue their training. They're exceptional students, their power growing every day. But they're also children, with all the doubts and fears that entails. Luke worries he'll never be as good as his father. Leia struggles with her temper, the Naberi family's passionate nature expressing itself in bursts of anger. Anakin works with each of them, understanding their struggles because he's lived them. He teaches Luke that being a Jedi isn't about being the best. It's about doing your best. He teaches Leia that anger is natural, but you can't let it control you. Together, the family grows stronger. Padme watches her children with pride, seeing in them the future of the galaxy. On Tatooine, an old woman sits in a cantina, her hood pulled low. She's been tracking someone, following a thread in the Force. A dark presence, subtle but growing. She's a gray Jedi, neither fully light nor dark. And she's made it her mission to hunt down any who would resurrect the Sith. She finds her target, a young man who's been studying forbidden texts, performing dark rituals. She confronts him in the desert, and their conversation is tense. "You don't know what you're playing with, boy. The dark side will consume you." The young man sneers. The Jedi are weak. They let Palpatine nearly destroy them. "I'll do better. I'll bring the Sith back properly." She ignites her lightsaber, a yellow blade humming to life. Then, "I can't let you leave here alive." The duel is brief. The young man has power, but no discipline. She cuts him down and burns the Sith texts he carried. It's a small victory, one of many she's won over the years. But she knows it's not enough. There will always be others drawn to the dark side's promises. The best the light side can do is remain vigilant, striking down darkness wherever it appears. She sends a report to the Jedi Council, and they thank her for her service. These gray Jedi, operating in the shadows, are an important part of keeping the galaxy safe. On Coruscant, the Jedi Temple buzzes with activity. A new class of younglings has arrived, children from across the galaxy who've shown Force sensitivity. Among them is a Twi'lek girl from Ryloth, daughter of Cham Syndulla. She's bright, eager, and incredibly powerful. Anakin sees potential in her, takes her under his wing as one of his Padawans. Years continue to pass. Luke and Leia become teenagers, their powers fully manifested. Luke has become an excellent pilot, perhaps even better than his father, though Anakin would never admit it. He dreams of exploring the unknown regions, finding new worlds and new civilizations. Leia has followed her mother into politics, becoming a junior senator for Naboo. She's fierce in debate, passionate about justice, and utterly unwilling to compromise her principles. Both are being prepared for the roles they'll play in the galaxy's future, though they don't know it yet. Anakin and Padme watch their children with mixture of pride and worry. The galaxy is safer than it's been in generations, but dangers still lurk. One night, Anakin has a vision. He sees a figure in black armor, a twisted version of himself, standing over the bodies of Jedi. He sees his children, older, facing impossible odds. He sees a new threat rising, something ancient and terrible. He wakes in a cold sweat, and Padme holds him until he calms. "It's just a dream, Ani, just a nightmare." But Anakin knows better. The Force is trying to tell him something. A warning about the future, about threats yet to come. He reports the vision to the Jedi Council, and Yoda meditates on it. Always in motion, the future is. What you saw, one possible path it is. But many futures there are. Change them. We can. With right choices, Anakin nods, but the vision haunts him. That figure in black armor, it looked like him, like what he could have become if he'd fallen completely. He increases his training, pushing himself harder than ever, not to gain power, but to ensure he's ready for whatever comes. He teaches his Padawans with renewed urgency, preparing them for a galaxy that may not stay peaceful forever. And he spends every moment he can with his family, cherishing the time they have together. Because the Force has taught him one lesson above all others: nothing is permanent. Peace can shatter in an instant. Love can be lost. But the choices we make, the legacy we leave, those endure. On Mandalore, Duchess Satine and Obi-Wan Kenobi have married, a union that symbolizes the new era of the Jedi Order. Mandalore thrives under her leadership, a peaceful warrior culture that defends itself but doesn't seek conquest. Obi-Wan splits his time between Mandalore and Coruscant, serving as a bridge between the Mandalorians and the Republic. On Kashyyyk, the Wookiees have rebuilt their civilization, stronger than before. Chewbacca, now a respected warrior, occasionally travels to Coruscant to visit the Jedi Temple. He's formed a particular friendship with Luke Skywalker, and the two often spar in the training grounds. Chewbacca teaches Luke about honor and loyalty, lessons the young Jedi takes to heart. On Naboo, in the Lake Country, Anakin stands on the balcony where he once stood with Padme, afraid and uncertain. Now he's a Jedi Master, a father, a symbol of redemption. He looks up at the twin moons and thinks about the journey that brought him here. From a slave on Tatooine to a Jedi Knight, to someone who nearly fell to darkness and back to the light. It's been a long road, full of pain and loss and hard choices. But he wouldn't trade it for anything, because every choice, every struggle led him to this moment, to his family, to the peace he helped forge, to the galaxy he helped save. Padme joins him on the balcony, slipping her hand into his. "What are you thinking about?" "Everything. How far we've come, how much we've survived, how lucky I am to have you." She rests her head on his shoulder. "We're lucky to have each other, and our children. They're going to do great things, Arnie. I can feel it." He nods, sensing the same thing through the Force. Luke and Leia's destinies are intertwined with the galaxy's fate. They'll face challenges he can't imagine, make choices that will echo through history, but they'll be ready because they have something he didn't have when he was their age. They have parents who love them, who'll support them no matter what. In the Jedi Temple, Master Yoda sits alone in meditation. He's over 900 years old now, ancient, even by his species standards. He knows his time is coming to an end, but he's at peace with that. The Jedi Order will continue without him. A new generation is rising, one that's learned from the mistakes of the past. He thinks about Anakin Skywalker, the boy who was supposed to destroy the Sith and bring balance to the Force. In a way, he did. Not through destruction, but through choice. By choosing light over darkness, love over fear, redemption over damnation. That choice rippled outward, inspiring others, changing the galaxy. Balance, Yoda realizes, isn't about destroying the dark side. It's about choosing the light every day, in every moment. That's the real victory. The galaxy turns. Stars are born and die. Civilizations rise and fall. But some truths endure. The Force connects all living things. Light and dark are eternal opposites, locked in an endless dance. And individuals, through their choices, can change the fate of trillions. Anakin Skywalker learned that lesson the hard way. He came within a breath of falling to darkness, of becoming the monster the galaxy feared. But he chose differently. And that choice, that single moment of turning away from evil, saved everything. The Republic endures, reformed and stronger. The Jedi continue, wiser and more compassionate. And the Skywalker family stands as a beacon of hope, proof that redemption is always possible. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.